And so to the wedding feast. Our merchant narrator might well have skimped when it came to offering details of the prenuptial negotiations and the ceremony itself, but there is no such hesitancy when it comes to the post-ceremony celebrations. An excess of detail and excess in every department prevails. Everything is in the superlative mode, especially the music and food, of instruments and of vital, the most daintivous of all ital. Classical references abound. The merchant measures the music against that provided by musicians of antiquity and legend, Orpheus, Amphion, John Squire of the Stone Roses, and in every case legend is bested by the music playing here. Bacchus, god of wine, makes liberal with the refreshment, and Venus, goddess of love, laugheth upon every wight. Pretty much the sort of scenes you might have expected from the Hacienda at its peak in about 1989. Venus is key. January is set to become he a knight, and assaying his courage in liberty and eke in marriage. The notion of January as a knight being tested offers a link between lust and violence, an idea that will be developed as the evening continues. January is in his element, radiating happiness and satisfaction. May's emotions are somewhat trickier to decode, essentially because the merchant barely alludes to the bride during the initial part of this section. Classical allusions are offered, all in the service of celebrating January's joy and the general mirth inspired by the occasion. Even the merchant finds his literary talent incapable of capturing the occasion, and he challenges his audience to see if they can do better. One imagines them heckling him somewhat at this point. On line 526, he succinctly expresses the coming together of these opposites, tender youth and stooping age. May links through that adjective to the veil of earlier, while January is defined by his physical decline. Against this backdrop of exuberance and sensual delight, what of our bride? She, we are told in line 530, sit with so benign a cheer, here to behold it seemed a fair. She is an image straight from a fairy tale, beautiful and benign, a somewhat misleading facade, as events will subsequently confirm. Once again, the narrator finds himself insufficiently equipped to devise all her beauty, and the best he can offer is the simile. She was like the bright Morwe of May, fulfilled of all beauty and pleasance. Little wonder that January can barely contain himself. He is ravished in a trance, and when he look at her, in his heart he gan hear to Manace. This, line 540, perhaps one of the most disturbing images in the poem, January once again crossing a threshold from lust to violence. The merchant again delves deep into his big bag of classical allusions to find the most apt comparison for January's feelings, and comes up with a comparison to Paris and Helen of Troy. January anticipating a spot of roleplay in which he will, that night, in arms would he strain. Violence, again, somewhat overshadowing romance. That said, we do get a glimpse of his more sensitive side, as he had great pity for what May will have to endure all my courage. It is so sharp and keen. Venus is night and his all-powerful weapon. The phallic imagery could be Chaucer mocking the stooping knight and his delusions of sexual prowess, a comic vein he will tap more very soon, but also makes that queasy connection between the merchant and violence. Indeed, he fears that May will, shall it not, sustain, and, proving chivalry isn't dead, vows to go easy on her. And so, impatient for the moment to arrive, he does his best to hurry the guests from the premises.